curious to hear. I know you've talked about it a little bit in our space as SB, but the overall, I guess, reaction to Bitcoin as far as like the stock bros or the fiat bros, as you like to call them, how they react to it. Are they starting to come around? Are they starting to understand the tech? Are they seeing I guess, the big momentum behind it, or is it still? Are they still just not really getting it and understanding it?
Yeah, I think there's a couple different splits of what people think of it, and there's definitely the kind of the guy in the fiat world, and we'll use investments here because that's what I'm in, but it's the guy he's had a pretty successful life. So he's worked in or she's worked in investments for decades. They've got a nice investment portfolio built up. They've succeeded. There's been a bull market in both equities and bonds for the last several decades. So they've done pretty well. And from their perspective, there's nothing really wrong with the current system. I would say that, there's different levels of believing in the Fed or not, but there's generally this kind of TradFi attitude that the Fed can fix everything. So yeah, maybe they got a little bit ahead of themselves and printed too much money in 2020, but it'll be fixed. And I think that person, they don't get Bitcoin because they just don't get the use case for it. So you bring up Bitcoin to them and they just think it's useless speculation and they're not even going to try to understand it. So I think that's part one. I think the other part, some guys do see a potential for it, but and I can't believe they do, but they just can't get over the volatility aspect. So, I go and explain to them and I say, look, it's volatile now. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be volatile forever. If you're monetizing an asset 10 years after creation, it's going to be volatile. I'll give the example and I'll compare it to gold, where do we think gold became the global monetary standard within 10 years after it was initially found? No. So obviously, a very different situation now versus thousands of years ago, but it's the same general concept that it's going to take a little bit of a while for mass adoption, and they just want it right now. So I think those are the two cases. I definitely think there are people, and there's people at my work and people in the field that they get it 100% and they're in, and they have a decent chunk of their asset allocation in there. And I think those people, they're more of the open-minded, creative people, and not tooting my own horn, but they're the kind of people that they're at least open to the idea that the current monetary system we're in isn't working well. And I think I have a decent perspective where I've been working within this system. This is my livelihood. I think the system is crazy. I think the whatever we created in this kind of monster of a system that really has been pretty negative in terms of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. I work in the system, I live the system, and I understand that there's something really wrong with it and we need a new system. So I think that's the piece that there are some people there, but in general, I have found that that's been the minority.
All right. Well, TB, what about you? I know you're more of the tech side of things. So is there still, like, I guess, people open-minded to it? Is it a little bit a flip side of the coin? Like, are people more interested in the technology, but not necessarily like the Bitcoin ethos, if that makes sense?
Sorry about that. Just lost my AirPods died on me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let's go for it.
All right, awesome. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I think I've heard your question. How's like the tech world respond to Bitcoin?
Yeah, basically, are people understanding the tech, but and kind of embracing that aspect, but not necessarily the ethos, or is it just a full-on embrace of Bitcoin?
Yeah, so first from like I would say like an adoption perspective, um, the tech space is a really natural fit for cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. I would say the median age of folks that I work with is in that, probably that 25 to 32. That's, I've worked for very early stage startups, so that would be like about the median age. So people who relatively fresh out of college who are much more privy to mobile technology, digitization. So for them, something like Bitcoin just seems like a very natural fit. And also from their own experience, they've seen the value of their dollar just shrink year after year. So they're looking for an alternative form of currency. So um, it's been much more receptive compared to what SB's been describing. But in terms of blockchain technology, I would say some folks in our industry kind of they miss that a little bit. They kind of get caught up in just trying to make a quick buck off of this, and they're a little purely looking at this from a financial lens. So there's like, what's the next altcoin that's going to pump and I can make a ton of money. But in my exact industry, the folks at the top and on the executive team, they're really looking forward on how they can leverage their current technology with blockchain. So they've been really interested in what's coming up with the metaverse and how blockchain is going to feed into that, and all the the currency that's going to flow into that. And they really want to meet people where they will be. So it's kind of more of a forward thinking strategy. So yeah, I would say overall tech has been very receptive to Bitcoin and blockchain. So it's pretty cool working in this because it kind of validates all my reasonings for being so pro Bitcoin.